Hello, everyone. This is the Jeff Cowan coming to you from thejeffcowan.com with my weekly podcast, Write Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making a ton of cash. Because you can do that when you write service. You can also find me not only at thejeffcowan.com, but in regards to service, you can also find me at automotiveservicetraining.com. Again, automotiveservicetraining.com, or you can simply Google Pro Talk Incorporated, Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, and you can find me there. If you're interested in service, that's the best place to go, but you can also go to thejeffcowan.com. Well, I'm back today with a great podcast. I think it's going to be a great podcast, and we're going to revisit a topic we visited a few weeks, maybe a couple months ago, when I was talking about technology. Now, if you remember that podcast, when it comes to talking about technology, I think this really sums up what I was talking about there. You'll recall where I said, what do business development centers, multi-point inspections, iPads, texting, emailing, online appointment systems, what do all those things have in common? What do all those things have in common? And you remember my response was, not one of those things can look a customer in the eye, ask them for their business, and ask for their money, and get to sell and get the money in such a manner that the customer is so excited about it that they're willing to sit down and give you a perfect survey score and then come back and do more business with you, getting you the retention. And as I told you, the only thing that can do that is you. You're the missing link, because so many times I see people invest in all this technology. And by the way, as you'll learn, as you remember from that podcast, I told you I would invest in all those things. I would have texting, I would have emailing, I would have a multi-point inspection, I would have iPads, I would have an online appointment, I'd have all that stuff. But I'd never forget that it's you, the person, that's going to make the difference. That's the missing link, because again, so many of you have invested in that stuff with the promises and hopes that it was going to increase your sales, increase your survey scores, increase your retention, and nothing happened, or in a lot of instances, your numbers actually went backwards. As a matter of fact, in most instances, your numbers actually went backwards. So we talked about how to handle that. Well, this got such a big response, and it continues to get big response with telephone calls and emails and texting to me, that I wanted to address it from a different side. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you some personal experiences that happen and just show you from a consumer side how this technology affects people and some of the opinions they may have. Now, I don't want you to think is this podcast is me just complaining about some things that happen to me, but these things I'm talking about happen on a regular instance. And I think when we depend on this technology, again, we're not only missing the people, but we might be missing the people and the customers and how important the people are. I think we might be missing some loopholes that are in the technology that we're using that may, again, be costing us business. So don't think of this as me just complaining. I understand when things happen in life, things are going to happen, and sometimes they're going to be good, sometimes they're going to be bad. But here's some things that's happened, and these are all things that have happened to me here in the last 2 weeks. Not the last 2 years, not the last 2 months, last 2 weeks. And it happens, these types of things happen on a regular basis. So with that, let's get started. Now, the first thing I'm going to share with you has to do with my personal car. And I want you to know that when I take my vehicle in for service, the last thing I do is walk in and say, hey, I'm the Jeff Cowan, and I teach people how to do exactly what you do. And if you don't do it perfect to my standards, then I'm going to rip you apart on your survey score, and I'm going to give you a hard time and become the biggest heat case you've ever seen. I'm the exact opposite. Okay, because the last thing I want to do when I'm not at work is talk about work. Now, what's even weirder about this is the story I'm going to share with you is I've done business with them for 10 years, and they're so poor at building rapport, they don't even know what I do simply because they've never asked. And you might be saying, well, why do you take your vehicle to that place? Because it's the least worst of the places in my area. The area I live in has some of the worst service departments on the planet, with the few exceptions, one being where my wife works. She works at a Ford dealership and a Toyota dealership where she's the executive assistant to the owner, and their departments are just killer. If you're ever out in Rancho Santa Margarita, California, you go to Rancho Santa Margarita Ford or Rancho Santa Margarita Toyota. No kidding, I'm not saying this just because my wife works there. I'd tell you if they sucked, they don't suck, they're good. But the place I have to go to for my car, because it's a different car, bad place. So here's the story. I bought the car about 5 months ago. Within 200 miles, had a major issue with it. I'm okay. Men make it. I get it. Just fix it. I'm happy. Things happen. And that's really the way I approached it. Well, after 4 or 5 months of going back and forth, taking the car and never blowing up, never yelling at them, nothing like that, they finally get the car repaired, we think. So I pick up the vehicle, and it appears to be repaired. You know, so I drive it for a couple hundred miles, starts doing it again. So I called this particular dealership to tell them it's doing it again, couldn't get anybody to pick up the phone. So after an hour and a half of waiting for somebody to return my phone call, I text them and said, simply, it's doing it again. Now I get a response like that within 5 minutes. Oh, Mr. Cowan, we thought we had it repaired. I hate that. Let me get together with my technical expert, shop expert. Let me get together with my manager. I'll even get the factory involved and see what we're going to do because, boy, we just hate this. I'll get back with you tomorrow. So I text back, sounds good. I'm in town. Call me if you need me. Well, now it's been 72 hours. 72 hours. I've not gotten a phone call. I've not gotten a text. I've not gotten anything. Okay. And nothing. So I'm going to give them another 24 hours, but you would think after all this problem that, number one, not only would they be Johnny on the spot with it, but instead of just texting me, they would have picked up the phone and called me. I really feel like at this point in time, they're doing everything they can to avoid me because this vehicle has a problem, and I swear to you, sorry, I just hit the mic there. I've not been a heat. I'm not a yeller and a screamer. I've been as calm and as cool and collected as you can. So, there, you know, again, I would pick up the phone. Now, here's another situation. I've recently, if you know me, you've watched my podcast and whatever, you've probably noticed over the past couple of months here that I've picked up some unwanted weight. I've actually picked up 15 to 20 pounds. It typically happens to me at the holidays because I eat and drink too much and stop exercising. So I decided now I'm going to get serious about it. I look at my calendar. I've got a ton of workshops coming up, a ton of personal appearances coming up, and I want to have more energy than people that would ever imagine that I would have because that's what I'm known for in my workshops is just really just setting the world on fire, right? So I decide I'm going to work out. So I get online and I narrow down to where I might want to work at to 2 different gyms. Now, one's a spin class, if you've ever heard of those, because I love riding bikes. I want to get in shape so I can ride my bike. The other one's a general workout place. So I get online and look these places up. Everybody says they're great. Well, one place has a telephone number you can call, one doesn't. So let's start with the one that doesn't. You have to get online. I get on there. It says, if you want to come in and talk about what we do, set up an appointment. So I pick a time, and then it has a comment box. And in the comment box, I simply said, hey, can somebody call me before I come in so I know if I need to bring anything, if there's any information, because I'm serious about this and I want to save as much time. And can you tell me how much time I can plan on because I have a very tight schedule. I'd really appreciate that if you could text me, email me, call me back, and tell me how much time we're looking at, what I need. Nothing, okay? Nothing. All right. Second place, I get in there, I call, I don't get anybody to pick up the phone. So again, I get online, I set up the appointment. Same thing in the comment box. Can you tell me about how much time I'm going to take? Because they don't give me any of that information. And you know, let me know. And knowing that they've got my phone number, because I had to fill that out, they've got so they can text me, they can call me, they've got my email address. Nothing. Okay. So both those I had scheduled for Monday. Now, as luck would have it, I come in Monday and I get busy and I can't make those appointments. And I actually, you know, I never do this, but I usually call them up and say, hey, I'm not coming. Couldn't do that. I did have my assistant email them though after the fact and say, look, Mr. Cowan, sorry. You know, if you want to give us a call, we'd love to reschedule whatever. Nothing. One of the places. It sits right next to a Starbucks that I go to, so I figure when I'm over there getting a drink the other day that I'll just go over there and walk in and see if I can talk to somebody, and their door's locked, and there's a sign on the front that says, if there's not a class or session in place, the spin class, nobody's here. We're only here during these times when there's an actual class going on. So, I mean, you know, here's a guy who's the biggest laydown in the world, who's going to do this and spend money doing this no matter what it costs. I can't get him to respond. They're dependent on all this technology with their websites and stuff, which are beautiful, but they won't respond. Obviously, what they're planning on is people fill this stuff out, they show up, they sign up, and they go on. And maybe they're sold out. Maybe they don't need more customers. But I mean, no response, you got to be kidding me. And because they're relying too much on technology. My suggestion to either one of those places is they should have somebody on there at least once every 4 hours looking to see if anybody's setting the stuff up, looking to see if anybody's left any comments, and responding. Because a simple response, and they've got me. I'm a lay down. But at this point in time, I don't think that I want to go back, because if they're that sold out and they don't need new customers, then what kind of attention am I going to get while I'm there? That's just my opinion. Now, I've got a couple other situations I want to go over with you. But before I do, I want to talk to you about this book sitting here. Many of you know that a few months ago I put out the book, Write Service and Write Your Own Service, the way to make $100,000 on a service drive, because 20% of the people writing service, whether it's at an independent place, a chain store, or a dealership, 20% of the people doing it are making $100,000 or more. The average person makes $65,000. And if you want to know how they're doing that, keep listening to this podcast or get this book. Now, on Amazon, the electronic version of it's doing very, very well. The ratings are really high. People are loving this book, but we've now got it in a hard copy, and you can get that hard copy. And in this hard copy, we'll tell you exactly how to make $100,000 a year if you're interested in doing this. If you're already doing the job and you're not making that money, here you go. If you're thinking about getting into this industry and into that position, here's how you do it. Here's how you make the money. Right here, you just go to automotiveservicetraining.com, automotiveservicetraining.com, or you go to jeffcowensprotalk.com, or you go to thejeffcowen.com. Don't ask me why I have so many websites, but we do. And you can buy that book. What you'll also discover is that I have a over 10-hour video program on this that has full testing available, that if you decide to invest in that, okay, and you take the test and you pass it, I personally will certify you, which will make it infinitely easier for you to go out and get one of these 30,000 jobs that are now open. There's 30,000 positions for this position right here that pays $100,000, no college education available, and all you got to do is you got to know how to do the job, and I'm going to show you right there. But back to this, a couple more things. Now I want to talk to you about Starbucks, one of my favorite places. I've gone there for years. And typically, in the past, up until 3 months ago, I'd go in there maybe once or twice a week, and I'd grab an iced tea because I just love their iced tea, maybe get everybody in the office something, and it was always a really pleasurable thing to do. I'd go in, I'd get in line, I'd get up there, I know them, there's 2 or 3 people that are always there, we've got kind of a relationship. Hey, how you doing, Jeff? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how's your kids? My kids are fine, how are your kids? All that stuff. And so there was a bond there. Even to the point where they'd write my name down without asking. They'd put the cup over there, they'd make the drink, and then the barista or whoever made the drink come over and say, here you go, Jeff, you know, see you in a couple days, come back and see us more. So there was a relationship there. What I discovered was, when I was in there one time, is they told me they have an app. And if you get this app, maybe some of you have it, you can order your drinks before you go. It will even help you search out the closest store and everything. Order out the drinks, whatever you want before you go. So now instead of going and having to stand in line for 5, 10, 15 minutes and then wait another 5 or 10 minutes to get your drink, now you can order ahead. You just pull up, because it will tell you on my app, it usually says in 3 to 10 minutes they'll have this ready to go, or sometimes it says 10 to 15 minutes, so it gives you the time frame. You just show up, you go in, you pick it up, and you walk out. So it's a big time savings, right? Well, I jump on this app, and what I did is it became so convenient to go, that now instead of going once or twice a week, I find myself going 5 times a week. So this is great news for Starbucks, because I'm assuming that's what most people are doing. Since it's easier now that we don't have to wait in line, we'll probably go more, and we probably even spend more. I know I do. The problem I'm having with it is since I've gotten the app, I've not only gone into that Starbucks now 4 or 5 times a week when I'm in town, but I go to other Starbucks, and you know what? I'm spending sometimes double what I used to spend when I go in those 4 or 5 times, and guess what? Since I've been doing it that way, not one person has said, hi Jeff, how you doing? Not one person has said, acknowledge that I'm there. Not one person has even said, thank you for coming in. All that went away. Now, what's my problem here? Do I want somebody to suck up to me? No. But in the big picture, I might be buying more now, but there's no relationship. There's nothing to tie me to. There's no people. There's no bond. There's a lack of appreciation. So I think if things were to get tough, it might be easier for me to leave Starbucks and go someplace else, because there's no personal connection like there once was. So, you know, would I have the app? Well, I think they're smart for doing it, because obviously they're making more money. And I know I must sound crazy and like I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth, but I think in the long term this might come back and bite them in the butt, because there's no connection with these people anymore. There's no connection to a single store anymore. Now it's just Starbucks. I go to the closest one. I don't go out of my way because there's no connection with the people. One more thing I wanted to bring up is this. My company was using a online place where they helped you blast out emails. Now, one of the frustrating things was when I signed up with them is that you could never get anybody on the phone. And the whole thing was they keep sending emails and say, you don't have to talk to us. Just fill this out, we'll do it. Send us what you want to send out, we'll approve it, go back. So for about a year, I'm using these people, and things were going fine. I mean, I was getting the responses they said I was going to get, and I never talked to anybody, just kept going back and forth. But something happened at one point in time, and I'm not going to bore you with the story, where we needed to talk to them. We had a big issue, okay? We needed to talk to them. So I sent them a thing, please have somebody call me so you can walk me through this, because, and they sent back, oh, no monkeying around here, you don't need to, just do this, this, and this. So I tried that, and it didn't really work for us. So again, I sent a thing, please just somebody call me and walk me through this, because, and so to make this really long story short, and boring story short, we could never get them on the phone. We never got the thing rectified. And so I took my $3,500 a month I was giving them, and I stopped using them, and I started using a firm where I could actually get somebody on the phone. And here's the thing. After I canceled, I never got an email back saying, saying, hey, we want to solve this. We'll get you on the phone. I never got a phone call. Instead, I got a thing with, sorry you canceled. We'd like to see you back. Anything we can do, we'll do it because we appreciate your business. Sorry that you feel like you have to leave. That's all I got. Now, after a year and a half, me giving them $3,500 a month, you think somewhere along the line somebody would have picked up the phone and said, hey, look, obviously there's a problem. We want to continue to do business with you. So what is it that happened? How can we solve this and get it turned around? And had they did that and helped me solve the problem, I'd still be doing business with them today. But their inability and their refusal to get on the phone and talk to me and my staff, they lost the money. They lost the account, and now I'm with somebody else. And I'm actually glad I am, because not only do I get to talk to these people when I want to talk to them, but I'm actually getting better service, and I'm getting bigger results. So again, I don't want you to see this podcast, because we're at the end here, where I'm just sitting here complaining and bitching and moaning about things that have happened to me, because these things happen on a regular basis. But you can obviously see that with some of these technologies, some of the same type of technology we're using, there's some pitfalls there. And so again, with any of these situations, I just think if somebody was monitoring what's going on here. For example, at the car dealership I take my car to, if somebody was just looking and say, hey, look, I see that we've had 5 texts come in from these guys. Maybe pick up the phone and talk to this guy, and somebody did, it might make a whole different situation. I think the workout places, somebody just was saying, hey, look, I was going through the emails here the last week, and did anybody contact this guy? He set up an appointment, never came in, never showed. Anybody called him. It looks like he had a thing where he wanted us to call him. Anybody pick up the phone and call him, and somebody did that, they'd probably have a deal. Starbucks, I think if somebody just was sitting there every once in a while and they just had a greeter that just said, hey, we just wanted to say thank you for coming in. We appreciate you coming in. We know you come in now for. Has anybody done that? I think they could do that. And again, with the survey company and that I was using, and the marketing thing I was using to get my emails out, if somebody would just picked up the phone and called, even after I was canceled, and just said, hey, what's going on? So again, I think it's that human factor that's missing. So is technology good? Yes. Do I use it? Yes. Should you use it? Yes. But don't forget, it's the people. Somebody should be monitoring what it is you're doing and making sure that none of these customers like me are falling through the crack, or if there's anybody on there that has just fallen through the cracks. So hopefully this makes sense. Hope you like this. I think this is good information. I've given you some things to think about here today. I will be back next week, and in the meantime, you go write some service. You get some great, perfect survey scores, and you get people to come back so you get the retention. My name's Jeff Cowan. I'll see you back next week with another message. Make it a good one. Take care.